Introduction, you know that something is happening in a city, in a political battleground, when three things start happening. First of all, you know you're doing well when your enemies start coming to your meetings. That's good, because we want to convert our enemies into friends. So they are most welcome. Even those who came to be difficult and who are distributing leaflets outside our meetings, posing the false dichotomy, the false choice, Islam or democracy. We're in favor of Islam and democracy. That's what we are in favor of. Because we believe that if good people don't vote, bad people will. If good people don't get elected to take important decisions, bad people will. Bad people have. And that's what we are here to try and change. And I say to the special branch man in the room, you have to take careful note of this new front that opened up this evening for the first time, the presence in our midst of those who wish to lure the Muslims away from society onto the rocks of separatism and extremism, some of them eventually to violence. We are the antidote to these extremists, because we say to the Muslims, we know that you are angry. You are right to be angry. So unite with the others who are angry and change things democratically and peacefully in this country, as we are able to do. Take note of that, because we're here to stay in Bradford. Indeed, I believe we are here to grow, because the vast majority of the people in Bradford, Muslim, non-Muslim, believers, non-believers, are absolutely convinced that Bradford needs change, and that we are the best and most effective agency for change. People might not agree with me on all of my political views. They might not agree with us on our political views, but they know that what needs to be changed is the people who are in power today. That's what needs to be changed. And thus we can unite. The second thing that happens when you're getting places, when you are winning, is that the media start to attack you. And my goodness, what a week it's been. It's been the worst week since the week before in terms of attacks. Let me say this to those who are interested, and not everyone is. I've been reviewing the stories of the last week. The story of the last few days is Galloway a Muslim? He failed to deny he was a Muslim, as if to be accused of being a Muslim was to be accused of being a criminal of some kind, which you fail to deny. I just ask you this. Look at the stories over the last few days and substitute the word Jew for the word Muslim in those stories. Is Galloway a Jew? Galloway refused to deny that he was a Jew. Did Galloway convert to being a Jew? No such story would ever be written in the English press. None. It would never, ever be written in the English press. No one would be allowed to write such a story. And rightly so, because it's none of Jemima Khan's, it's none of her business whether I am a Muslim or whether I am not a Muslim. None of her business. And it's even less the business. It's even less the business of the dirty gutter newspapers, the Daily Mail and the Sun and all the rest, who only want to kick Muslims, who only want to lash Muslims. Why should we open our hearts to them? God knows who is a Muslim and who is not a Muslim. And God knows that one thing is for sure, whether Galloway is a Muslim or not, he's been fighting for the Muslims for decade after decade after decade in this country and abroad. And the third thing that happens when you're getting places is that people threaten to kill you. I understand from the Telegraph and Argus and from the police and from well-placed and trusted witnesses that there are some criminal elements in Bradford have promised to kill me.
Oh my God.
Well, let me say a few things on that. First of all, if you want to kill me, you'll have to get through all my friends first. That's the first thing. Secondly, I'm not afraid of you, and I'm not afraid of bullets, and I'm not afraid of death. I faced Israeli bullets, Israeli bombs, Israeli missiles. There's nothing in Bradford going to frighten or intimidate me. Thirdly, I'm a believer. I believe in the other life. I believe this is a short and transitory life. That what matters in this life is only what you do in this life to face the judgment day when it comes. So shoot me. After me, my sons will fight you. My sons will fight for what we believe in. And this, I promise you, no criminal will ever intimidate me out of doing my duty here in Bradford as your Member of Parliament. No criminal will ever do that. And also, I've got to say this, please, if any of you know these people, convey this message. I know there's criminals everywhere, there's criminals in every city, but they're not usually in the town hall. The criminals are not usually able to walk in and out of the town hall and influence decisions in their own favour. And we will not put up with this any longer. There can be criminals in Bradford, the police will deal with them. But it's our responsibility to make sure there are no criminals in politics in Bradford, and that's exactly what we are going to do. We won't accept it because the people of Bradford don't deserve it. They deserve better than that. And as Ishtiaq said, the people of Bradford have been gravely let down by the political class in this city. Not just Labour, though Labour must take the biggest share of the responsibility. Actually, let me go back a bit when I was talking about the criminals and their guns. I saw a story planted by Labour in the Telegraph and Argus about one of our candidates, Asif Khan, on an aid mission to Afghanistan, taking money and aid to the Afghans who've been devastated by war. And he had a small arm, a Kalashnikov, an AK-47 to protect his life, to protect the aid, to protect the money. And he's attacked by Labour, who sent, in the form of Bush and Blair, hundreds of thousands of foreign soldiers to invade and occupy Afghanistan. The problem in arms have killed 100,000 Afghans. Incidentally, there's a postscript to that story, so keep your eyes peeled. You might just be learning one or two new things about weapons and Afghanistan over the next hours and days. But getting back to my point, you know, I'm trying to save Bradford City Football Club. They're near the bottom of the bottom division. This I knew before I came here. And this, frankly, I can live with. Nobody dies if Bradford City lose as they did today. But lives are ruined when the schools of a city are at the bottom of the 4th division, and our schools are at the bottom of the 4th division, and we're not going to accept it, because the expenditure on our schools per head is the same as other schools in other cities. But they're not in the bottom of the 4th division, they're near the top of the 1st division. And their demography, as it's called, the makeup of their population, is exactly the same, almost to the same percentage point as our population. I refer to the London Borough of Tower Hamlets, which I once represented in Parliament, which is near the top of the league, and Bradford is near the bottom of the league. Both of them have the same makeup in their society. Both of them are spending the same amount of money per pupil on the education. So how come we're at the bottom and they're near the top? And I'll tell you, the Director of Education in Bradford's going to have to answer me on that, and he's going to have to answer Ishtiaq on that, and all of the Respect councillors if they are elected on Thursday, and he better have some good answers, because he's got some explaining to do. When he has his meeting with me, just think back to the US Senate. That's the kind of meeting he's going to have with me, to explain how come our children are being betrayed in this way. It's true, Ishtiaq, they're very, very nervous down in the City Hall, because they know that something's happening here. They know that they've been rumbled. I was in Little Horton with Ilyas Karmani last night. I went to a day centre. It's been there 4 years. The council leader happens to be their councillor, and he visited that day centre for the first time yesterday because he knew I was going there in the evening. Can you imagine? You're the councillor for a ward and you never visited their day centre? Can you imagine being the councillor for a ward which has the highest youth unemployment in the entire United Kingdom? Can you imagine being the councillor for a ward which has the highest levels of child poverty in the entire United Kingdom? Because that's what Ian Greenwood is. He's presiding over mass poverty, mass unemployment, and he doesn't even bother to visit the people who are in the day centre huddling out of the cold because they can't afford to keep their own houses warm. And the reason he can treat people with such contempt is because he thought that these people had no choice but to vote for him. Well, they do have a choice. They have a better choice. They can vote Respect on Thursday, and they will get respect in return. Because a fish rots from the head, you know. And Ian Greenwood is the head of that rotting fish. And we intend to cut that head off that fish on Thursday, God willing, and to really make the change that needs to be made. Thank you very much indeed.
ये थे हमारे इंतहाई काबिल एहतराम मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट ब्रैडफोर्ड वेस्ट के